Prime-time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
The Bonnyville Oil and Gas Show is back this summer for the first time since 2019. That city's Chamber of Commerce says they hope the show will have a positive impact on the local economy. I'm joined today here on Primetime Local News with Serena Parsons, the Executive Director of the Bonnyville and District Chamber of Commerce. Now, the Bonnyville Oil and Gas Show is returning to that city this June. It's the first time in a while that the show has been back. So, Serena, first of all, how exciting is it to be hosting this event once again in Bonnyville?
You know, the Bonnyville and District Oil and Gas Show really is a show for the community as well for the producers and service providers. And right now there's a real, there's a positivity surrounding the oil and gas industry, where we're going and what's coming to our region. So this is a perfect year to say welcome back to everybody and to get back together and to, enjoy, network, and make connections that will ensure success and growth for the industry overall, and of course the economic development of northeastern Alberta.
Now, the show's still a little while off. It's taking place June 21st and 22nd. So are you still looking for exhibitors to take part this year?
We are. So exhibitors can sign up on BonnyvilleOilandGasShow.com. So we have a specific website for that. If you can't find us, you always look through the chamber as well, the Bonnyville Chamber website. We've got some information there. It's going to be happening on June 21st and 22nd. But one of the things that we're actually really excited about as well this year is our opening ceremonies. So in years past, we used to have a huge opening ceremonies, and then it kind of scaled back a bit. But now we're coming back to really bring in something fun to all our exhibitors and the public. Anybody can attend at the C2 on the 20th of June. That will be happening the evening prior to the show, and it is sponsored by Pathways Alliance. And so we're really happy to have them come and speak about their carbon capture and their path to net zero with our big producers in the region, and to really talk about what's going to be happening right here in our backyard.
That sounds really exciting. Is there anything else that you can let us know is going to be taking place at this year's show?
Well, we've got all the great things that we're known for. Bonnyville is known for its incredible hospitality, and we're going to keep that going. One of the other things, of course, that we're known for is what we call the Oilman's Room. And that is a real networking space where producers and service providers can come together in what we call kind of reverse speed dating and make connections. Service providers can ask, hey, how can I bid on a project? How can I get out and work with Imperial or Cenovus or Canadian Natural? And it's really great to put those faces to the names, give a handshake, and to say, this is what my company can do for you. So connections are made, contracts are made, and a lot of great things do come out of that. And that's unique to our show, and we're really pleased to be bringing that back this year. We've already got confirmations from some amazing companies that are going to be in the oil and gas show, in the Oilman's Room, such as Cenovus, Interpipeline. We've got a great lineup. And so the show itself is great. The community's amazing. Bringing back the opening ceremonies this year.
Now, you're from the Chamber of Commerce, so I feel like you're a good person to ask a little bit more about the impact the show has on Bonnyville. It's been a little while. Now we're coming back after COVID. What's the impact that the show will have on the Bonnyville economy?
Absolutely. To host an event like this, we bring in exhibitors from all over the province and other provinces as well. So we've got our hotels full, our restaurants are full. It has a great economic impact to the region, not to mention a good economic impact for our current contractors here that, like, as I said, can make connections and can get contracts. We know that there is growth happening right now. We know the next 10 years, Bonnyville, the Lakeland, is going to be the place to be if you are in Alberta and if you are at all involved in the oil and gas industry. We are coming back up on a boom, and we're really happy. There's a lot of hope surrounding what's happening, and we just want to bring people together. It's all about making connections, Jace. That's what we stand for, and the oil and gas show is no different. So as the chamber, it's going to be an economic driver for our region, an economic driver for our producers, and an economic driver for our service providers. And we are really happy to be able to explore, network, grow, learn, and build this together.
Now, we went through a lot of the stuff that's going to be taking place at this year's show, but I'll just give you an opportunity to give a final pitch.
I don't want to give everything away. There are going to be some aspects of the show that are going to be really fun, but I just want to remind the public that the opening ceremonies will be open to the public on June 20th. There will be some entertainment as well as a guest speaker from Pathways Alliance and some local delegates. We also, the show itself spans over 2 days, of course, as everybody knows, June 21st and 22nd here at the Bonnyville C2. It is $20 to enter, but if you pre-register online, your entry is free. But if you don't, it's okay because that $20 goes right back to STARS Air Ambulance. So, we want to make sure that we're donating to a company that impacts the oil and gas fields and that, is safety focused as well. So.
The Bordering on Disaster Conference is coming up. Our Zach Kenny brings us more on the upcoming event.
So I'm here with Andrew from the City of Lloydminster about their upcoming Bordering on Disaster event. So Andrew, do you want to tell us just a little bit about who is going to be at this event as well?
At our April 21st, 2023 Bordering on Disaster virtual conference, it's going to consist of 2 keynote speakers, one of them being Mr. Greg Selecki, and then the other one being Dr. Lilia Yumagolova. And then to split up the 2 keynote speakers, we'll also be having a panelist Q&A session. So that's going to be consistent of emergency managers from throughout Alberta and Saskatchewan. So we'll have 6 in that panelist session.
And will there be an admission price possibly into this virtual event?
Virtual event, we've geared it as a $20 virtual conference. So we just think it provides really good value for all the audience that's going to be attending the conference itself. So that'll be $20. And then that's kind of catering into the September in-person conference that we're hosting here in Lloydminster. So anybody that does the $20 virtual conference will get a code for $20 off the in-person conference. That is still on early bird pricing until the first week of May. And then up to the first week of May, it's $350. And then after that, the regular admission fees will be $400.
And will there be anybody from the city attending this conference, or will it only be people from the emergency management?
Yeah, the virtual conference is certainly going to be catered towards, we're not generally looking at this as Lloydminster Emergency Management, but more of what the community and what the network is throughout Western Canada. So that will consist of emergency managers throughout all of Western Canada, and we'll probably see the same type of demographics at the in-person conference in September. We'll have a few more regional partners there, but nobody specifically from Lloydminster.
And is there anything else about the conference that you'd like to bring up that I just haven't yet?
I don't think so at this time. So the conference, we are also giving some attention to a trade show that we're going to be doing in the middle of the conference. So we're just looking at opportunity for a way for some of those exhibitors or some of those merchants to have some connection with emergency managers and showcase some of the new and industry leading products of emergency management.
Well, thank you, Andrew. And now we'll move our interview over to Greg, a keynote speaker for the upcoming Bordering on Disaster conference. So, Greg, Bordering on Disaster aims to promote and strengthen the emergency contacts. Can you tell us a little bit more on that?
When we look at that whole cycle of emergency management, whether we're speaking about mitigation, preparedness, response, recovery, that's really the areas that emergency management speaks to and where a lot of the practitioners have spent a lot of their time. I'm one that has actually moved through all of those areas as a practitioner with municipalities, with corporations now, but it's great to be able to see how they really do all influence each other's. For example, flooding for a lot of places in Canada, it's the #1 disaster really. Well, what do we do to mitigate that? What can we do? And it really goes back to budgeting. So without, having an open budget to work with all those different types of hazards, when I look at it, it's what can we do to prepare? So we know those hazards are there. We know one day they're going to impact our community. So what does that mean being prepared? Who's got the right training? Who's got the experience? Who's able to move forward in a crisis leadership role to get the best out of us when we have to respond? And then what does recover mean? And then that all goes back to the mitigation and how that cycle really turns out. So again, a lot of the people that are going to be at the conference are going to be experts in their field and speaking to all the different areas of infrastructure, recovery, crisis communications, those types of things.
And is there any other highlights of the conference that you would like to bring up yourself, Greg?
I think one of the more important things that I've learned now over a couple decades for sure within the emergency management realm is the leadership aspect. And I know we talk about a lot of the processes, methodologies that we learn in emergency management and how to apply them, but it's really about having somebody take that leadership stance, look at the crisis leadership aspect and understanding their roles. So the role of leadership within an emergency operations center, for example, is different than the role for the ongoing continuity aspect of the municipality. So Lloydminster and the CEO, how are we going to continue on with our operations? And then there's also the elected officials and their role in leadership during the response and recovery of an incident.
And thank you so much again, Greg, for joining us for an interview today.
And now let's check in with Shelby Clark for a look at your evening weather forecast.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jace Mackey. Yes, now taking a first look at your weather forecast. Here in the border city, we are just sitting at -4. Definitely looking at a warmer day today compared to yesterday, which is always nice to see. We were starting off quite cool there for our Monday off the week. But now for our Tuesday, we're looking at a beautiful day and are seeing a lot more sun peeking behind those clouds. And that's kind of continuing on into our evening as well. And with that wind chill, just feeling around -7. So not too bad whatsoever. Hopefully everybody's enjoying this beautiful day today. Switching over to temperatures across the region for Alberta and Saskatchewan. On the Alberta side, most spots seeing around -3 to -4 degrees. So definitely matching with us more here in the border city. We have some -2s there with Wainwright and up in Lac La Biche, and we go a bit over to Edmonton there. Only seeing that plus temperature with 2 degrees, so Edmonton is, of course, looking at slightly warmer conditions. Going over to our Saskatchewan side now, they are looking slightly cooler compared to Alberta side with these conditions, only by a few degrees. They are still seeing those single digits for the most part. We are seeing some -4s and -5, seems to be the most common trend. -6 in Green Lake, while it is -7 in Meadow Lake. The coolest that we are looking at is up in Isle La Crosse with -9, just under that -10 mark, almost hitting those double digits. And we go a bit lower to North Battleford, and they are just sitting at -8. North Battleford will be going down to a low of -14 for their evening low, so they will be seeing a nicer temperature for sure from what they saw last night. So although they are hitting those double digits with conditions, it'll be pretty calm tonight, you know. Mostly cloudy and cold is what is expected for North Battleford. Then for tomorrow, for their Wednesday, hitting that 0 mark. So warming up with that temperature, although not expecting as much sun peeking behind those clouds, more cloudier conditions, unfortunately. But it's nice to see that they are seeing a warmer temperature. For Cold Lake, they'll be going out to low of -11, so definitely looking at a nicer evening low temperature, just hitting those double digits for the evening low. They will be seeing some cloudier conditions as well. They won't be seeing a high chance of some flurries. And then for their Wednesday, 3 degrees. So they are hitting that 3-degree plus mark, but they won't be seeing too much sun. They will be seeing some cloudier conditions, but hopefully, you know, with a higher temperature, it will help warm things up a bit. For us here in the border city, we will be going down to a low of -12 for our evening low temperature. So we will be hitting those double digits, but definitely nicer than what we saw last night for our temperature. So we will be cooling down tonight, but we won't be seeing a high chance of some flurries or showers. We will be seeing more of a calm night. So if you got any outdoor activities, you know, you could probably stay out a bit longer. Just make sure to layer up, you know, with a nice jacket. And then for our Wednesday tomorrow, midweek, we will be looking at that 2-degree mark. So we will be hitting that plus temperature, which is very nice. I think we're all happy to see those plus temperatures, although we won't be seeing as much sun. It will be kind of a mixture with a little bit more cloudier conditions. And now ending off the look at your 3-day forecast, like I was saying, we will be looking at that 2-degree mark for our Wednesday. Won't be expecting as much sun. Then Thursday, as we head into there, we will be looking at -2, so cooling down slightly to that minus mark once again, although we will be looking at that single digits. And then we will be seeing a little bit more sun on Thursday, and that will continue into our Friday as we start off the weekend with that 1-degree mark. So we have a beautiful week ahead for us here in the border city. That's all I have for now for a first look at your weather forecast.
Thank you so much for that, Shelby. After the break, we'll have more on medical students in Saskatchewan calling on the province to fund nasal naloxone. That's next. Lloydminster Rowing Club finished up their indoor rowing season this past weekend. Here's Thomas Wildman with more.
Today we have Michelle Lopez, the president of the Lloydminster Rowing Club, and she is here today to tell us about the Saskatchewan Indoor Rowing Championships that took place this past weekend. And so thank you so much for being with us today, Michelle.
Thanks, Thomas.
And so Michelle, tell us a little bit about the Saskatchewan Indoor Rowing Championships and how exactly they work right now, considering that it's quite difficult for you guys to get out on the open water right now.
Well, the indoor championship is based on the indoor rowing that we do formally training through the winter season. So it basically is the kind of wrapping up point of our dryland training season. So the competition is on the rowing machines.
And so Michelle, tell us a little bit about how well your teams did. You had both junior competitors and masters competitors at the championships this weekend.
We had a great showing. So we had actually 3 first place finishes. Liam Gilby, who rowed the U19 2,000 meter event, placed first in his age category. Dallin Steinhauer, who rowed the 1,000 meter novice U15 event, placed first in her category, as well as alumni Shelby Lane, who raced for Saskatoon Rowing Club, but is an alumni of the Lloydminster Rowing Club, placed first in the 2,000 meter women's open. We also had a couple of masters. Myself and my husband, David Lopez, competed. David Lopez placed second in the men's masters 2,000 meter event, and I placed 9th in the women's 2,000 masters event.
And so looking forward, Michelle, when are you guys going to be able to get out on the water and actually start doing traditional rowing workouts versus continuing to work on the ergs?
So we still will have a bit of a softer spring season as the weather is not cooperating right now. So we'll be pretty much indoors till late May. Starting late May, we'll be working with volunteers to get the Lloydminster Rowing Club's docks back in the water. And then our first race event that we always look forward to is Regina Sprints, and that's the second weekend in June.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for all the information today, and we hope that you guys are able to get back out on the water very soon as the weather warms up.
Thanks very much.
Well, let's check in with Shelby Clark to see what the weather outlook is heading into the next couple of days.
Thanks so much again there, Mr. Jace Mackey. Yes, now taking another extended look at your weather forecast. We will be starting off with our central zone of the provinces, and we are definitely looking at a switch up for today from what we were looking at yesterday. We are definitely all in those minus marks. Now we are seeing those plus temperatures, with most seeing around 2 to 3 degrees over on our Alberta side. So that's very nice to see, as we are, of course, in this spring season. 5 degrees over in Jasper, so they are seeing the warmest condition there, while there's that 0 mark up in Athabasca. Then we have Rocky Mountain House and Cold Lake looking slightly cooler, just at -1, -3, as they are still in those minus points. But, seeing those single digits isn't too bad. Switching over to our Saskatchewan side, they are continuing to see some cooler conditions compared to our Alberta side for sure. They are looking at those minus points once again for today, although they are haven't warmed up to as much as what we thought we would see for today compared to yesterday. Melfort is still seeing those double digits with -10. We're looking at that -9 in Prince Albert, and the rest are just around -7 to -8 degrees. So definitely looking slightly cooler on our Saskatchewan side. Going over to our northern zone now, they are matching with us more in our central area, as they are still continuing those minus points, with most just around -9 and -10 degrees. We are seeing -11 up at Stony Rapids, and over in Wollaston Lake, they're just at -13, seeing the coolest there in Wollaston Lake. Going back over to Alberta side here in our northern zone, they have warmed up quite a bit, especially down in these areas here. Usually they are seeing some warmer conditions, especially for Grand Prairie and Peace River, just at 2 and 3 degrees. -1 in Slave Lake, while they start to cool down from there. -2 up in High Level, -3 there in Fort McMurray, and Fort Chipewyan continues to see the coolest condition there with -7. Now as we go over to our southern zone, they haven't warmed up as much as what we would think they would be warming up for today, definitely compared to our central zone. They aren't seeing as much warmer conditions compared. They are actually looking slightly cooler. Seeing that 2 degrees over in Banff, of course, seeing the warmest condition. Lethbridge is just hitting that 1 degree mark, and the rest are still in those minuses. -1 for Medicine Hat and Calgary, and then we are even at -5 there in Coronation as they continue on those cool conditions. Going back over to our Saskatchewan side, they are still looking cooler compared to Alberta side as well in our southern zone. Minus 10 and 11 seem to be the coolest conditions for Yorkton and Estevan. The rest are kind of like in those mid areas there with minus 8 in Regina. The rest are just seeing around minus 6 to minus 7 degrees, so they haven't warmed up at all from what they were seeing yesterday. They were actually for the most part seeing those double digits, but you know, now they are still seeing those minuses. And we're going to look at some overnight evening lows in our surrounding areas that we will be seeing as we head into our Wednesday. We are going to be warming up for our evening low temperatures, which is very nice to see, as we are, you know, of course, in the spring season. We'd like to see our evenings get a little bit warmer. A low of minus 10, Isla Cross will be expecting tonight. A low of minus 11 and 12, Meadow Lake and Bonnyville will be seeing tonight. And Paradise Hill and Provost will be expecting a low of minus 14 and a low of minus 15 degrees. So we are going to be seeing those double digits in these surrounding areas. But it's nice to see we aren't looking at a high chance of some flurries or any showers. It's going to be a calm night, just going to be some cloudier conditions. So if you have any outdoor activities, just make sure to layer up and you should be okay. Looking at our hourly forecast for our Wednesday here in the border city, we will be starting off slightly cooler with minus 11 right off in the morning there. As we go through mid-afternoon, we'll even be hitting that 1 degree point, so that'll be nice. We will be seeing that plus temperature. We got Jace cheering. I know I am too internally. And as we go through tomorrow evening, we will cool down just to around minus 2, minus 4, and that's not too bad whatsoever. We will be looking at some nicer conditions as we go on through the week. And like I was saying, we will be looking at that 2 degree mark for tomorrow, minus 2 Thursday, but we will be looking at a mixture of some sun and cloud that'll help warm things up. And as we continue into our Friday, into the weekend, 1 degree on Friday, a beautiful Friday indeed expected. We will be looking at some nice temperatures for the weekend, but just be prepared. We will be seeing a high chance of some serious flurries. So kind of bittersweet for our weekend. Just be prepared for some snowfall. And as we head into next week, we will be looking at those single digits once again with minus 2 Monday, looking at minus 3 next Tuesday. That's all I have for now. RJ Mackey, we'll have our news coming up for you after the break.
I'm back at Border Paws Animal Rescue for another edition of Pet Project, and today we have a gorgeous dog named Gia. She's around 4 years old.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about her, how she came to the SPCA. She's so gentle and she sits for treats, she shakes a paw, so she has a bit of training for her. So tell me a little bit about her story here.
So yeah, Gia just came into us as a random stray. So, you know, we've had her for a couple of weeks now and nobody's come forward, which was really shocking because she's very well behaved. She knows how to shake a paw already. She knows how to sit. She loves her treats. She seems to get along really good with the other dogs. Cats, I'm not sure. I feel like she might chase a little, but again, it might still work. We would just kind of have to try it out. Yeah, no, she's a really sweet dog. She's full grown, so I mean, she's a perfect size, right? Not too small, not too big. Can you shake a paw? Good girl. So yeah, I know she's a perfect little angel, and I mean, she's absolutely stunning, so anybody'd be pretty lucky.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, and she's so gentle, even with taking the treats. You know, some younger dogs on the younger side, they get super excited with the prospect of getting a treat, but she's taking them so gently. She sits immediately. You know, she's shaken a paw a couple of times. So I think she is a perfect pet to have in any home. Would you say that she'd be good around children of really all ages?
Yeah, like she seems to do really good. We actually had a family volunteer night last night with Synovus, and kids ranged from 4 to 10 years old, and they were walking her, playing with her. She wasn't jumping up on them, so I think she would do good with any age group of kids.
Which is awesome, because I can't get over how just well-behaved she is.
Yeah.
She was trying to go after a guinea pig at one point, but I think that's just dog's curiosity.
Exactly,
with the
right. You get a bit
animal.
of prey drive with them. Come here, Gia.
Yeah, she senses that it's near for sure. Now you have AGM this week. Tell me a little bit about that and the details for people who would maybe want to join.
Yeah, so we have our annual general meeting, which we have once a year, and it is going to be at our new shelter, so it's also another good way to get a sneak peek of our progress on that. So it's this Thursday at 6 p.m. at our new location, which is 5206 63rd Street. So all the public is welcome, and we'd love to see a good turnout. You know, any questions you might have for us. it's a perfect time to come and ask that. Our whole board will be there and they'll be answering any questions anybody might have.
Which is awesome for people, especially
Exactly.
Getting a little bit more details on the new building, what you guys do here.
That's exactly it. Plus, we talk a lot about the financials and stuff. So the people that donate, you can kind of have a better idea of where your money's going and all that, right?
Which is perfect. Now you have your Pampered Chef event that's still going on, but it's coming to an end soon. Tell me a little bit about how that's been going and more details on it.
So yeah, it's been going really good. It ends this Friday, March 31st. So I mean, Pampered Chef has all kinds of stuff, to kitchenware, spices, pretty much anything like that. So I mean, there's stuff to choose from for everybody. So just head to our website and we have the link on there that will show you all their different products. And yeah, get your orders in by Friday the 31st, and some of the proceeds go towards us.
And is there any other events that you guys have planned, or you had one that just passed as well? How did that go?
Yeah, so we just had an adoption event at PetSmart, and it went really good. We got a few cats adopted, so we did the pick a flower, and they got a discount price. We actually do have some more adoption events coming up in April. I guess I can mention the closest one is going to be at 4th Meridian on April 4th from 4 to 7. We'll be there with some cats.
Awesome.
So it's a good way to come have a drink and meet some kitties.
Exactly. What better way to spend your afternoon or day and just chill, see some cats? That's perfect. And it's great that you guys have these adoption events throughout the year as well, because it gives people a chance to maybe get a discount on a pet that they really want.
Absolutely.
Which is amazing, and it's supporting you guys as
Exactly. Well, and the nice thing about doing it at places like 4th Meridian, they're a local brewery, right, too. So it's just kind of nice to show your support for them as well. And I mean, anybody who's been there, their beer is absolutely delicious. So
it works out perfect. It goes hand in hand. It's perfect. Now, I ask this every week, but is there any donations that you're in need of, or stuff in general?
So blankets, we're really good on sheets and towels. I mean, we can always use them, but it's more just like comforters. If anybody has any big old comforters they're not using, doesn't matter if there's rips in it, we can always use it. We have a bunch of puppies, so they need the bedding there. And then also cat kibble. We're doing good on the wet right now, but we definitely need some cat kibble, and then as well as puppy food, kibble and dry.
Oh, she is the absolute sweetest dog, and honestly, I think she'd make a great addition to any household. There's not a bad thing I can say about her. She's been so sweet this entire time and just a little bit curious, but I think she'd do great in any household. So thank you for joining me today, and Gia for being an absolutely amazing guest.
Awesome, thank you.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Joining us today for Primetime Local News is country artist Kyle McCurney. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, Kyle.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
Of course, really excited to be able to talk to you because you are now releasing your new album called A Traveler's Lament. So let's kind of start it off here with explaining what this album is all about.
It's kind of a collection of stories and heartbreaks and betrayals and, monologues from traveling for so long, being on the road for so many years, and just a collection of life experience, I would say.
Now I hear this album has a little bit of everything. You have some blues, some rock and roll, and R&B. So can you kind of expand on what listeners can expect when they listen to this album?
Sure, yeah. Expect the unexpected. I mean, there's a hint of lots of different genres, just because I grew up that way. I grew up in so many different, circles of music, and I think that it's just what I write, naturally. It's Americana music. It's a lot like, you'd hear Chris Stapleton do, or Jason Isbell or Brandy Carlisle. It's that kind of wheelhouse of, the alt country, blues rock thing.
Well, it sounds like this has a little bit of something for everybody when listening to this album. So I know this comes out March 31st. So can you kind of explain where people can go online and find more information on the album when it releases and more information on yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So March 31st is the drop date. You can find it anywhere you listen to music, anywhere and everywhere. And all my socials are at I'm Kyle McCurney. So the letter I, the letter M, and then my name.
Now, what kind of message are you hoping people will get out of this album after they listen to it, or what you're hoping that they'll leave with?
I always hope that people, find their own stories in my songs and can relate and maybe, shed some of the heavy feelings or, dive into something they might need to look a little deeper at. And I also hope that they feel hopeful. There's always a lot of hope and a lot of family on this record as well. I'm a dad and I have 2 sons and a wife and stuff. So yeah, it's really important to me that that folks, feel that cozy family feeling from my music.
And how's that support been so far, through the process of releasing this album? Have you been seeing some strong support compared to your previous work?
Yeah, I have. I've seen a lot more this time, actually. I think that people who have watched me for a long time, I think that they're also happy that I'm making a second record in a project finally, and maybe gives them a bit more confidence and faith that I'm going to keep going with it. So I hope that's the case anyway. I've definitely seen a lot more support all around, so it's nice. It's really overwhelming, and I appreciate it.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a really great album, Kyle. Now, is there any more, like a teaser you want to let us know about for any of your fans or listeners that's watching this?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things I can't talk about yet, but there's definitely shows coming, hopefully to a city where you are, and love for you to come and see the band and see me play live and hear my stories right in front of you. So yeah, that's all I've got right now, I think.
Perfect, Kyle. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Ending off with another quick look at your 7-day forecast. We will be looking at that plus temperature tomorrow, 2 degrees, with not as much sun, but please make sure to enjoy it. We will be looking at some nice temperatures. -2 Thursday and 1 degree Friday. Looking at a mixture of sun and cloud for both those days as we head into the weekend. And be prepared for a warmer weekend, although a snowy weekend. We will be looking at some snowfall, so just be prepared for that. It will probably melt down soon. Then we will be looking at those single digits next week.
Great, thank you so much for that, Shelby. I promise you I will enjoy the sun. That's our show, though, for this Tuesday night. Thank you all so much for joining us. Have a great night, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow.